Welcome back. Welcome back to the Nikki Clarke Show. And how is everybody doing? Fantastic, fantastic. Everybody looks fabulous. Thank you so much for being here. The Nikki Clarke Show live at the Paintbox Bistro, 555 Dundas Street East. And there's been so much going on, so I have to ask you this question, this burning question. What time is it? It's right, it's time for Hot Topics, and what Hot Topics are, it's what is trending maybe on social media, what people are maybe talking about at the water cooler, at work. So a couple of things struck my fancy, and one of them being in a city in Northern Ontario. I'm not sure if you heard about it. There is a health unit going out, and nurses are putting together life-size cutouts of women breastfeeding their children all over the city. And this is to get rid of this discrimination for women who are openly breastfeeding their children in public. There's, this stigma, they go, just go in that other room and take care of it, when it's a natural thing, a natural bonding, and kids need to eat, right? So I am a big champion for breastfeeding. I have 3 children, and they all did pretty well on it. Anyone here? Can you feel me on that? Any moms out there and your proponents for breastfeeding? I think it's a beautiful thing. It's wonderful, but I think there's a certain age limit. There was one instance in church. I was sitting down, and a friend of mine, sitting with her toddlers, the oldest one being 3, we're in the middle of service. And all of a sudden, her son turns to her and he says, "Mom, I need some boob right now." In the middle of a hymn. So, there might be a cutoff age, but I think absolutely beautiful thing. What else is happening? Back to school time. Yes. Am I excited? Am I the only one excited? Back to school coming up in the next couple of weeks, and I know some parents are pretty darn excited about that, right? So that's pretty awesome, and actually I'm going back to school, so I'm taking some courses. I'm taking some really sexy courses like Greek and theology, so I'll give you a report on how I manage that at the end of the semester, but school is always a wonderful thing. Always keep up here armored with knowledge. And another thing that I'd like to share with you, I've kept it under wraps for many, many months, which is hard for me because I like to share. I'm an oversharer sometimes. But August 28th is a very significant day for me because that will be my nomination meeting. I have been working with the NDP, and they've been grooming me for the MPP position for the Etobicoke North riding. Thank you. So I am transitioning from host to politician. And I would like to invite you all to come to that very special part of my journey next Monday at the Humberwood Community Center at 6 o'clock. And the NDP leader, Andrea Horwath, will be there. She's a wonderful woman, and we've got some great things that we'd like to do. So if you'd like to come out and vote, please come. So it's going to be a fantastic show. We've got some stellar guests who have amazing stories, and I know you're all going to be inspired and you're going to have a lot of fun. We've got karaoke. We've got great prizes. So you don't want to go anywhere. You're here, the Nikki Clarke Show live. I'm right back. Welcome back to the Nikki Clarke Show, and class is in session. We've got a wonderful individual with us today. She is an employment lawyer and also the founder of Advocation. Please welcome Hermie Abraham to the show. You're looking lovely.
Thank you, as you are as well. I love the necklace.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So, Hermie, tell me a little bit about how you started as an employment lawyer. There are many fields of law, but why that particular area?
Wow. Well, sometimes I think that a profession actually chooses you. So I used to be in human resources, and in my mid-30s, I decided to go back to school, go back to law school. So with school being in session, I think school's always in session for us. And I was thinking of doing, something more in corporate law, and was just really drawn to employment because I'm sure as you and everybody who's here can attest that apart from our families, the workplace is the place we spend most of our time, and it's very powerful, and I like to solve problems in those areas, so that's why I picked employment law.
Okay, so how long have you been involved in employment law?
Employment law since 2009.
2009.
So that was when I was called to the bar in Ontario, not the bar where you grab a drink, but a bar, as in the Ontario bar is licensing. So I've been a lawyer since 2009, and human resources before that for about 10 years.
Okay, excellent. So what type of cases have you handled in terms of the employment law?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, I serve both employers and employees, but it could be any workplace transition that people find themselves in. So for employees, it's typically people who have lost their jobs. They're going through a transition with job loss. They're trying to think of their financial security. They're trying to think of their next opportunity. And so I review their severance package, but I also kind of find out what they're really looking for so we can make sure that the time that they have is a good bridge to their next opportunity. I also get to assist people when they have new opportunities. And it's funny, with the school in session theme, this is a time when a lot of people are starting new jobs. And so reviewing contracts, making sure that it protects them, meets their legal needs. People oftentimes just look to see if the salary is right in a contract, and there's just so much more with a contract. You're signing a legal document. So it's always good to have that reviewed, and my clients come to see me, and I review it and sort of give them negotiation strategies and tips and tricks to make changes. And I also help workplaces. I mean, I'm passionate about making sure that the time that we're not spending with our families is really good, productive time. And so the clients I have who are employers are fantastic employers. They really care about their employees and doing what's right. And so I get to assist them with everything, whether it's performance management, if there's an employee who's going through disability management, myriad of things that you can imagine that touch the workplace.
Okay. The question I have, you brought up about negotiation. Yes. When people are job seeking and they're able to get out of that, someone picks finally their name out of a whole bunch of resumes,
yes,
and they're in that interview process. It's kind of a touch and go scenario where you want to ask a lot of questions, but you don't want to seem too eager about salary. But how much can you negotiate for salary right then and there of your your potential employer?
I would say that if you're in the interview stage, pace yourself, because you haven't been given the jobs yet, right? So maybe that's not the time to be asking questions about salary and negotiating. It's a time, though, that you want to make sure that this job that you're going to be entering, which you'll be spending the bulk of your time, is going to meet your personal needs. So am I going to get the career opportunities I'm looking for? Is this going to, result in something that professionally I feel as if I'm getting ahead? So that's where you can ask your questions. And I say never feel shy to ask questions. I have been on the other side as a recruiter when I was in human resources, and you want to hire somebody who's passionate about the job that they're about to enter. So don't feel shy to ask questions about the job. When you have been given an offer of employment, most times it's the employer who's going to do the first offer. And if there's changes that you want to make, again, don't feel shy negotiating. The worst that's going to happen is that they're going to say no. And I'll say that if you've been selected out of all of the candidates, they are vested in having you start with them. And I think that people often feel like, oh, I don't want to rock the boat. But trust me, they want you as much as you probably want them. So take the time, negotiate. The worst that they can say is no. And even if they say no to a salary increase or a salary amount that you want, you could always look at a tiered, salary. So if I continue good performance, by the end of the first performance year, perhaps I get an increase. And most employers, if you're going to make a contribution, they're not going to say no to that. They're looking for someone who's going to help them grow as well too. So those would be my tips.
Okay, great advice. What do you think? Yeah, excellent. Yeah, and it's very important when you do get that job offer to have someone like yourself look through and read the fine print,
Exactly.
right? Because it implicates so much time, like you said,
Exactly.
of their involvement with the firm or whatever organization it is.
Yeah, no, I would say, like, for example, there are a lot of people in tech and they get a wonderful job at a tech company and they might have a side hustle and they might not realize that that side hustle might, somehow impact the job that they're doing or breach the terms of their contract. So it's always really important to have a good sense of what the legal side of what you're agreeing to when you accept a job.
Okay, fantastic. So let's talk about advocation, when
Yes.
that started and what the mission statement is.
Well, advocation is my personal practice. As much as I love law, I love business as well too. And so I started this about 2 years ago after working at different firms and also being on my own for a little bit. And it really is the embodiment of what I feel my ultimate life purpose is. And it might not be the most exciting life purpose, but as far as a lawyer goes, I think it's pretty exciting. But
It's your passion work.
Yeah, it is my passion work. And that is making workplaces awesome places to work. For both the employees who understand their legal rights and also for employers who are getting people who are, strong contributors. So I do that with, one client at a time. And as a business owner, I enjoy it. I enjoy sort of that, my own direction. The economy is changing as well, too. A lot of people are self-employed. So when people come to me and they are thinking of, going on their own after they've lost their job, I can at least offer something with my experience and being my, my own boss in a way, essentially, although ultimately my clients are my boss. But, so that is advocation. And I'm looking to grow it and for it to continue to meet its mission.
Okay, excellent. And do you have any seminars or workshops for people who are trying to grow their own business?
Yeah, well, I have been doing a webinar series. I've suspended it over the summer, but we'll be retooling it again in the fall. So for those people who connect on my website, they'll be able to find information about that or if they want to be added to our newsletter. Primarily for employers, but I always try to put out useful content to employees as well, too. So I'll be doing a video series called Ask Hermie and also writing blog articles that people can get some information.
Okay, so what's next for you?
Ooh, what's next for me? I guess continuing on. I'm growing as a business owner as well too, so that tends to be something that I'm focusing on right now. We have one life. I always say that we have to make the best of it. So I'm really trying to, embrace and move forward in my personal journey and professional journey as well too. So that's kind of what's next, but it's a continuum in a way.
Can I just get you to speak into the audience lens and to speak to someone who's contemplating a career in law and they're going back to school?
Okay.
What tips would you give them?
Wow, if somebody is going back to law school, I'll say that I went back to law school after having a career, and law is a wonderful profession. Lawyers sometimes get a bad rap, but I think overall, the lawyers that I know, they all are, really driven to do good work, and whether that is, making sure merger and acquisition doesn't go completely sideways, or helping somebody who is losing their marriage, or helping somebody who finds himself in the criminal justice system. It's a wonderful profession. You will never be you'll always gain
Never a
something.
dull moment.
Yeah, never a dull moment, and you'll always gain something learning about the law. So I figure that even if I didn't practice law, the knowledge that I gained from law school has been immeasurable. So I would highly encourage it.
Yeah, and definitely transferable skills into your life.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. A lot of lawyers don't even practice law. They, do many other things, but it really is good training.
Fantastic. And where can people find you?
Well, the first place is by my website at www.advocation.ca, and there you can connect with me socially. And you can email at info@advocation.ca or send a call at 647-727-8836.
Fantastic. Well, I want to give you something because you've been so kind to the show. Hermie has been a wonderful sponsor to the show, and I really appreciate it.
I love what you do here, honestly.
Thank you so much. So because you've done great teamwork, you're going to get a certificate.
I'm happy. I saw the ruler there. I was worried about the ruler.
For best friend to everyone.
Thank you.
There you go. Thank you so much. Hermie Abraham, everybody. Check her out online. We'll be back. Thank you for joining us here at the Nikki Clarke Show. The show is about conversations that matter. And if you know me very well, you know that I love jewelry. I love wearing it. I love buying it. I even like selling it sometimes. And we have a lovely lady who is very gifted at making extraordinary designs in jewelry. Please welcome Gerrie Huenemoerder. She is the founder of Evelina Jewelry. Welcome her to the show.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Absolutely, and I love this piece that you have. We had a little side chat before you came on. You said that you did that in just one day.
Yeah, in a couple of hours.
In a couple of hours?
Yeah.
Wow, wow. So how was that put together?
Well, this is glass that's fused onto copper. So that's one of the processes that I learned to do when I learned jewelry making. And I love it. I love that you can put color onto metal. And I love that every piece is an experiment. You can't totally predict exactly how it's going to come out. And I love that unpredictability about it.
Okay.
Kind of like life.
Life is like a different piece of jewelry, isn't it?
That's right.
Never know what you're going to get.
That's right.
So tell me about the beginnings. So you studied jewelry making?
Yeah, when I was 17, I was going to go into the sciences, and I suddenly changed my mind, decided I was going to go into art, but I had no idea what, and a man came into my life that I just met randomly who was a jewelry designer
Okay.
and a goldsmith, and I thought, that might be really cool, and so I got some information, applied to college, I went to George Brown College here in Toronto, their jewelry arts program. And, I graduated from their 2-year course. I went to work downtown Toronto here in a little design studio and won a design award from De Beers and started my own business. And life went really well for a few years. And I loved that business, and then, family things changed. And I did all kinds of other businesses and just did, diamond rings and engagement rings by custom order. And then my marriage broke up, and I decided this is my passion, and this is what I want to do with my life.
Okay.
And so here I am with Evelina Jewelry. Most of my designs are around life, living creatures, nature, all of that sort of role and combined. And Evelina is a word that I found that means life. And it's an old name that means life, and it fit.
It fit perfectly for what you were trying to express through your work.
That's right, yes.
Okay. So where do you operate out of? What part of Ontario?
Well, I operate out of Seaforth, Ontario, a little town in Huron County.
Okay. And you have a store, or is it online purchases, or?
Yeah, I have a studio there with a small little shop, and I do a lot of online things, and I have a few stores. A store here in Toronto, Made You Look, is going to start carrying my
Nice.
product.
Yeah.
Yes.
The one on Queen Street?
On Queen Street,
Very
West.
good.
Yeah.
Excellent. And it's a great location to go by and get some beautiful pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So do you make for everyone, for women and men?
Yes, and I do, I do your mainstream jewelry with, gold or silver and precious stones, as well as I do a sort of an art type of jewelry, which is where the enamels fit in.
Beautiful. And you do custom pieces too, so people
I do
can
a
bring
lot
a
of
design
custom
to you.
pieces. Yes.
What was the most unusual design you've ever done for someone? A request that was just
I did it like an
amazing.
arm cuff.
Arm cuff. Okay.
In silver. That was probably 4 inches wide, and pretty interesting. Yeah.
Awesome. So what would you advise someone getting into the jewelry business? What are some of the things that they should prepare for a career in jewelry?
Well, you're going to have to be self-employed. You're going to have to, be willing to find your niche. I think it's kind of like, they're talking about the fashion industry, and you have to get in there and find your spot.
Okay, make it work for you.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
let's take a look at some of the pieces that you have there. Can you describe of what you've done and
Well, the large enameled piece it's a mermaid tail. I've sort of been on this mermaid kick for the last couple of weeks, and just because we could all be a mermaid, right?
what are mermaids?
Well, if you like to splash in the waves, and you can weather out the storms, and maybe you can drink like a fish, you could be a mermaid, right?
Excellent analogy. Okay. yeah, definitely.
It's just I sort of just people were talking about mermaids. Mermaid is a big up and coming sort of fashion thing, maybe for the unusual, and I fit into there. So I started doing some mermaid things, and that was one vision. Because I can go to work. I do what I want to do now, and I can go to work, and today I can say, I'm going to make a mermaid tail, or I can say, I'm going to make a nail bracelet, or who knows, right? I can go to work and do that, and hopefully somebody will buy it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, they're just stunning. And
Yes.
so thank you very much for bringing them, and we had one giveaway for an audience
Yes.
member. So thank you for blessing us with that. So how can people connect with you?
I'm on Facebook with Avelina Jewelry, on Instagram with Avelina Jewelry, and I have a website, avelinajewelry.com.
Excellent. All right. Well, since you've been such a great student, I have something for you. You get Best Jewelry Maker certificate. Thank you so much. Great
Thank
teamwork.
you.
Gerrie H., everybody. Thank you so much. Avelina Jewelry. We'll be back.